time for actually to start this. I'm only using the in-game, the real timer as a reference point because I use the in-game timer to actually count. It only goes into it only counts minutes, and it does not count certain in-game cutscenes, and as well as all the FMVs.
Never gonna give you up. Never gonna give you up. Never gonna run around.
It's never gonna give you up. Never gonna let you down. Never gonna run around and hurt you. Never gonna make you cry. Never gonna say goodbye. Never gonna tell a lie and hurt you. Nice try, though, Arthanori. Anyway, so yeah, if you have any questions...
I love Selkcap.
If you have any questions whatsoever about the run, about the game, basically anything related to the game at all, by all means, go ahead and ask.
It's 2:30 a.m. Arthanori says, I am tired. The NCD says, hot Englishman, beautiful singer.
So for this first section, you actually are only limited to running and jumping up until you talk to Gus here.
Artha, shots fired.
I'm actually a rather decent singer.
I fired some shots to Kappa.
Like, kinda decent-ish. But normally I don't sing too often on stream though, but anyway, yeah, this is another annoying thing, that there are these text boxes instead of voice acting, which means that whenever the game wants to give you a line of dialogue, most of the time it will stop everything in its tracks, so that the admittedly relatively fast text scrolling will happen, but it's still annoying. I'm hoping to get at least one 10 drop out of this. It's not necessary, but it's nice to have the insurance. Money in the early game is pretty hard to come by, and I got a 5, of course. So here there's an extra text skip I'm going to do. I just skipped another bit of dialogue with Gus by meleeing that machine from the other side. If I had gone up to Gus, there would have been a couple extra lines of dialogue I had to go through. I do not believe so. It is not Microsoft Sam. It's an MIRC extension. I don't remember where I downloaded it from. I always take my time going into this section because sometimes the game's camera likes to spin you around and put you in the wrong section, and also likes to stick on geometry like that.
The XED says, focus on the that
is a glitch called what I call a straight jump, which is sometimes just horizontal momentum and cause Mickey to jump straight into the air, and it tends to happen at like the least convenient times possible. All right, let's see if I can do the theater trick here again. Yes, I got it. That saves about 3 seconds. It's pretty cool.
Selkafree says Selkafree.
I missed the the text box again, but it's still faster than doing it normally. It's just not as fast as the optimal method. So yeah, this game is pretty cool. It is definitely an homage to the classic 3D platformers of yore. Despite this game's look, this was made in 2010. It was developed in part by Warren Spector, aka the mastermind behind Deus Ex, and some of the Thief games as well. So here's that trick I was talking about earlier. You follow a specific path here. Again, because that first fight is triggered by line of sight. So I basically am just moving around the enemy's cone of vision there. And of course I'm also trying to paint in textures in cutscenes. Or as I'm entering cutscenes, rather. And yeah, this game's camera system is really bad, also. Not as, it is, like, I would say, like, it's Sonic Adventure 2 quality. Also, hello, Cult of Purgatory. How are you doing? Gus does a pretty good job, Gus here does a pretty good job of explaining most of the mechanics. Perhaps too good a job, one could argue. By the way, that text box there, about the terps, can be skipped, but it's very difficult. And I think it might be slower as well. Anyway, what I'm doing there is bunny hopping as I'm using Thinner, which is slightly faster. That's what I intended to do earlier on my last failed attempt, is thin out the ground just below me, so that that saves about a second. Then again, this is the type of game where minutes and seconds can be can go away. Doing on this evening. I'm actually streaming kind of early today, by my standards.
Console.
Barely able to make that cycle. The cycles for the beds are kind of random in this game. That I can't get those extra e-tickets, so I'll be a few short. Then again, it's a while before I need to spend. It's a while before I need to actually spend anything in this game, but it's nice to at least have the insurance, which is also why I wanted to have a little bit of. I wanted to have like that 10 drop earlier, but anyway, here's another big. This is actually the first moral choice that we're seeing, but it's supposed to be the second. Because after that fight that I skipped, you're given the choice of whether to free a gremlin or get a chest full of e-tickets, which will kill the gremlin somehow. But anyway, you got these gears. You can either destroy the gears, destroy the middle gear, or paint in the two. And I did testing, and this is slightly faster, even with the Wii Remote shenanigans. And it also results in a faster cutscene here, because if you destroy the middle gear, then Gremlin Tisto will be really annoyed at you and have a couple extra lines of dialogue criticizing you for your excessive, heavy-handed tactics, excuse me. So they pointed out that thing about the, we're not actually going to do that quest that Gus was pointing out earlier about the pipes. It's not, it is not mandatory, and there's only one minor consequence for it, which means that the exit is harder to get to, but even then, it's actually not that difficult. I am hoping on something of a cycle. That's a guaranteed 10 drop in that gear there. Uh-oh. Okay, I didn't get that in time. Hopefully... Okay, just barely got that. I think I may have gotten the cycle in time. It's gonna be close. Nope. Okay. Normally I would reset for that, but considering where I'm at currently, it's probably wiser just to do this. Yeah, normally I would reset, but I'm running out of time here, unfortunately. So... yeah, first death of the game. There's going to be a lot of those. So mostly towards the end of the game, because the end of the game is pretty terrible. Anyway, what do you think of this game, EXE? I'm curious as to your opinion of how this game is as a speed game. There are some pretty cool sequence breaks that we'll get into later. I'm probably going to lose about 30 seconds-ish from that death. But then again, this split is so long that there's other opportunities for me to save time, so...
Arthanori says, why do you even have text-to-speech?
It's an audio cue for me to actually... It's basically because I have a tendency to look at the chat too much. And when I hear text-to-speech, I know that I can actually it properly. And it for me, because otherwise I get pay attention to the game.
Arthanori says, and EXED, why don't you have text-to-speech? Kappa.
So this is like the one consequence, is that you have to avoid the steam now. Oh no, what a terrible consequence. So the other reason, the main reason why I those two enemies instead of painting them, because there's also an extra cutscene where Gremlin Tisto will taunt the enemies as they run away, because painting enemies befriends them, and when they're befriended, they'll help you fight alongside enemies.
The EXED says, because I'm a lot.
Yeah, even if I do get to be really popular, I don't think I would ever turn off text-to-speech. I might like increase the speed. Also, I got incredibly good luck here. This is probably almost, I'd say it's almost good enough luck to cancel out that death. Not quite enough, but close. So now there's 3 enemies initially that spawn, and then there's 2 more, one of which already spawned. The only consistent thing is that they spawn off screen, so I basically just spam the C button like this to see if I can actually show see where they are. And unfortunately, this one is not cooperating. I may have lost all the time. Oh, there he is. Okay. So they're very good luck at the beginning, very bad luck at the end. Pretty typical. And the timing is pretty much like as soon as the cutscene starts,
Twitch trolls,
you can hold down A.
Army of trolling Craigasm.
So we got a Guardian. Because we used a lot of Thinner, we got a Thinner Guardian. Which means that one Thinner Guardian allows you to 1-hit kill enemies. Also, you can do this. This is probably my favorite trick in the game. And it certainly is like the most versatile trick in the game, which is that you can double jump and spin attack out of any, out of getting hit. In thinner pools, which is like the lava of this game. But yeah, you can. Unfortunately, that was nerfed in Epic Mickey 2. You can't do that anymore, which is a shame because that would be really useful. But even so, damage boosting is going to be very, very useful, as you will see shortly. Also, this area has tons of slowdown for some reason, which is weird because none of the other areas in the tutorial have this much slowdown. But this one does, and I don't know why. It's not even that graphic intensive. Yeah, in Epic Mickey 2, they decided to like overcompensate for the lack of voice acting in this game, I think. Also, there's 2 possible areas that can spawn from here. And let's see, I got the good one. This is the faster one. The other one is on the left. So we're going to use the damage boosting to skip a cutscene here. Like so. We're just going to damage boost around the trigger for it. And there we go. We saved about a minute there, give or take. And this, as I mentioned before, is a faster method of travel. While, also this cutscene is skipped just by damage boosting over the river there, because the trigger is only on the bridge. And you're going to see me thinning out a lot of stuff here, and that's in order to build up my evil meter that you see just below Mickey's health. You can see that he has a meter, and there's blue and green is the evil meter, and green guardians are very useful in this game, especially for bosses and for large-scale fights. Because one green guardian equates to a 1-hit kill on smaller enemies, and like a 2-hit kill on some larger enemies, and it does a decent amount of damage on bosses. It doesn't kill them outright, but it does a decent amount. You can carry up to 3 guardians in this game. 3 is also the default in Epic Mickey 2, but you can buy upgrades that can allow you to carry up to 6, I think. I don't remember where the camera puts me here. Okay, yeah. That's alright. So yeah, damage boosting in this game is amazing. I love it. Probably one of my favorite parts about running this game is the potential for damage boosting. So if you guys have any other questions, by all means, go ahead and ask. You know me, I'm pretty decent at commentating and playing at the same time. Yeah, my unofficial nickname for the bunny hopping while using Thinner is the Thinner Shuffle. You can use it with Paint as well, but it's not as useful. But it does basically the same thing with Paint when you use Paint, or whether you use Paint or Thinner while bunny hopping. But I call it the Thinner Shuffle because it's more useful with Thinner.
The NCD says, Englishman best commentator. The NCD says, Bat Ad Q. Arcanori says, how
it is about
long
3
is a
hours,
speed
a
run
little
of
over
this
3
game?
hours. In real time, in real time I'm getting about 3:12, which in game would allow me for sub 2 in game. Yeah, this game I do have to stop once during this run, and that's only to switch DVDs at about the 2-hour mark. Also, hello, this is Small Pete. He is a version of Big Bad Pete that is based on the The old, the little Dutch girls that you would see on the It's a Small World ride in Disneyland. There are several different Petes, as well as Big Bad Pete. Yeah, you'll be seeing
Console Purgatory says,
seeing lots of different
I hope
Petes.
they got their act together this time around. A lot of it will go on there being bad due to second-hand commentating. Flash.
I don't know. I have to say, my favorite commentator at HDQ was Goat Rope. Also, check out Oswald here. Whoa! They didn't actually bother to make an animation of him going into the projector, so he just sort of spazzes out there. Okay, I can do this jump with 4 HP. I was just kind of hoping for the insurance. It takes a minimum of 2 boosts to get over here. I just skipped a huge chunk of the level, by the way. Yeah, basically in the tutorial they decide to put to mark off a lot of the areas with like thinner pools, which you could just sail across with the damage boosting. But yeah, Goat Rope's commentary for Halo 1 is some of the best commentary I've ever heard for anything. Camera, please. Yeah, this game's camera's kind of weird, in case you haven't noticed. I have kind of learned how to tame it, and even then, I know, like, approximately where it tends to spaz out, and how. But yeah, I would say overall, HDQ 2014 was definitely a great experience. And I did a little spin attack. Unfortunately, it's going to put me in a bad position. I can already tell because of where I'm positioned here. I just need to reorient myself for a bit. And here we go. Here's another 2D level. I also really like the 2D levels in this game. And hey, guess what? It's Steamboat Willie. Let's see how much time he lost from that death. Everybody loves Steamboat Willie. I absolutely adore these 2D levels in both this game and in Evan Mickey 2. They just have so much personality. They're such fun to play through for the most part. And even the ones that aren't fun to play through at least have really neat art styles. Alright, let's see how much time I lost. It's only going to be about 25 seconds, maybe a little less. Yeah, 23 seconds I lost for that death. It's good to know. Probably there's a little bit more imbalance there because of the inconsistent luck on the fight at the Gremlin ticket booth. But anyway, here's where another big sequence break is. There are actually 2 of them. We're actually going to do a side quest here that you don't usually do. We're going to collect Pete's log. Also, but first we're going to be an asshole and thin everything here, because that gives us lots of evil points.
Console
when we thin things out like that.
I do hope they don't bring back the guy that made inappropriate jokes during Regi one of their events. Don't know which one it was though.
So normally you're supposed to activate the rides, but if you do some careful jumping here, you can get up to this area without having to activate the rides. Controller head? Yeah, he got banned actually. After a harassment charge against him. There we go, save 2 seconds. Okay, so that wasn't the sequence break, by the way. The sequence break is coming up a little later. There's another area which again you're only supposed to be able to get after you activated all the rides. And there's a windmill that we are going to jump on the sails of the windmill and hopefully get somewhere with it. Yeah, Gremlin houses and thinning out NPCs in particular gets you lots of evil points, so that's why I do it. And every time you enter an area, everything resets, so you can just keep thinning and grind your evil points that way, if you were so inclined. So anyway, we're actually going to... You notice the objective markers over there? We're going to access a shortcut. This is a game-intended shortcut, but you're not supposed to be able to get it this way.
If it was who I think it was,
it's a shortcut of a shortcut. Gotta line this up. Supposed to get up there. Oh, almost. Yeah, I know exactly why I failed that. I've never done this first try in any of my runs, so I'm not too concerned. Also, the camera likes to spaz out there. Camera likes to spaz out a lot in this game. One. Almost. Okay. Took me 3 tries of my personal best, so again, not too concerned.
Arkanori says, Bodybuilder Man sounds like a villain out of SpongeBob.
There we go. Got it. Third try.
The NCD says, lol.
Yeah, Control Head was banned. Alright, so because this is a pretty recent addition to the route, I actually don't remember exactly how this plays out. Yeah, okay, I can do this. Yeah, it's not this one I have to wait for. It's this one I have to wait
Purgatory
for.
says, Controller Head was the guy that was high, drunk, and making cancer jokes during one of their charity events.
One of the events was AGDQ 2014. That is the guy you were
NCD
thinking of,
says,
by the way.
Cancer
I don't
jokes.
like this.
The NCD says,
Yeah,
what a fool.
cancer jokes. That's the only cancer joke that's really allowed is the. There used to be a club called the Promote Cancer Foundation, which was a group of smokers who would be outside the back when we were still at the 4-H center, and that was like the only cancer joke you were allowed to make.